Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stop Being Sold, a community of informed consumers who are sick and tired of being sold financial products that they don't understand or need. So if you are sick and tired of being in a transaction, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And also, if you like the content of this video, hit that like button so more people can find content like this and you'll never miss another video. So my name is Michelle. This is Brian. How you doing, Brian?
Hey, Michelle. Doing great.
All right, so today we're talking about the types of 401k rollovers and specifically how choosing the wrong one could cost you more than you may realize.
Sure.
It's a big topic, right? So, I know that there's some data that just came out. Capitalize put out a report just recently this summer, actually, on the true cost of forgotten 401k accounts. And by the end of 2020, they estimated that there were over 6.7 trillion in 401k accounts. That's a lot of money, right? Here's the catch. Out of that 6.7, 1.35 trillion of those assets and more than, so there are 1.35 trillions of assets and more than 24 forgotten 401ks in 2021. That's a boatload of money. Right, that's 24 million forgotten 401ks.
Forgotten 401ks.
Forgotten, just left behind. And I know it's mind blowing, right? Especially when that money is just God knows what. You're not maximizing your retirement savings at that point if you're leaving it behind. So I know that.
What's going on with it?
Right.
I just mind blowing.
It really is. It's really quite shocking. So I know that, like, for example, when you change jobs, the last thing on your mind is, what I should do? I'm going to roll over that 401k, right? It's a busy time for people. I do know that, like, sometimes I've talked to a lot of people who think that, I can just leave it there because my 401k is being taken care of by my employer, which is not true. They cannot do that. That is your money. They cannot do that. So it just sits, right? And then, sometimes it's just like, if you don't understand something, are you really going to, in the middle of this hustle bustle, like, are you really going to go, you know what, right now is the time for me to sit down and learn about rolling over my 401k? No.
Or you just started your new job and your mind is focused on, okay, I got to learn what's going on here.
For sure. For sure. Exactly. So, it's a staggering amount that have been left behind, which means, that, like, it's just woof. And here's the kicker though, Brian, is that I'm going to read this so I don't mess it up. In the same report, the true cost of forgotten 401ks, individuals could miss out on nearly $700,000 in retirement savings throughout their lives due to risk of a forgotten 401k being in a higher fee plan and poorly allocated assets, right? Like, if you're not rebalancing your 401k regularly, guess what? You're missing out. You may miss out on the really good times and you may do really poorly in the not so great times. So, that's a lot. Now, obviously, 700,000, individuals could miss out on the average of 700,000. Your situation, anyone's situation, is going to vary based on, the account balance, et cetera. If it is in a high fee plan, if it's not, but really it's not a good idea. And so I'm going to make the case for don't leave your 401k behind with your past employer.
Right. And think about how many of that 24 million consumers that left them behind, how many of them 24 million have more than one left behind?
Right. Exactly. I don't have the statistics, but I was listening to something yesterday. It was a book on tape, and it was talking about, like, the average person now will change jobs something like 7 to 10 times in their lifetime. Yep. That this idea of a career with a company, going 40 years is a thing of the past.
Plus, it may be greater now. That stat's been around for a while.
For a while, right? Right. Yeah. The book was written a few years ago.
But think about it now, how many people have left the workplace since April of this year. The numbers are just exponential growth.
Staggering the amount of people leaving the workforce. Absolutely. So this is a really important topic because a lot of those people probably have 401ks. Right. So let's dive into the point of the video here. Let's talk about the types of 401k rollovers. So first we have the direct rollover and we have indirect rollover. Okay. And I'm going to kick it off with you. Let's talk a little bit about what a direct rollover is, and then what you can do within that.
Okay. Direct rollovers, pretty simple. Basically, both of them are real simple, but there is a huge difference in them. A direct rollover means that you're taking and enrolling your 401k directly to another company. So let's say you were at your workplace retirement, you had, let's say Southwest Airlines has Empower, and you left Southwest Airlines and went to American Airlines, and I believe theirs is T. Rowe Price today. So a direct rollover is going from one to another 401k plan, or going directly from your old workplace to a traditional IRA that's in your name. And direct means you're not touching the funds. It's directly written to the new company.
So it's going from a custodian to a custodian, so to speak, right?
Custodian, you're exactly right. So
it never comes, you don't get a check. It doesn't go into your bank account.
Well,
right?
Let's take that first
directly in.
Some companies require a check to be written to the new company.
Right. Okay.
So let's say you went from Southwest Airlines 401k plan to, as an example, to TD Ameritrade as your IRA custodian. Southwest may require the check to be written in your name and TD Ameritrade's name, say John Smith for the benefit, or TD Ameritrade for the benefit of John Smith on the check. But then they physically mail the check to you, the consumer.
And then you have to pass it over.
You have to pass it along. So that's still not a direct, indirect rollover. So
direct. Okay, got it. All right, so let's talk. So direct goes from a custodian to custodian, right? So you can I heard you say you can roll over your 401k into a traditional IRA.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about that. What are some rules and regulations around that?
Well, again, your money within your 401k, that was pre-tax money, so can go only to the traditional IRA. Okay. Think about it this way. If you have, a lot of 401ks today have a Roth provision inside there.
Sure.
So some of your money may be a Roth 401k. Well, that means you're going to, in a direct rollover, not only set up a traditional IRA, you also need
the Roth
IRA at the new custodian, because the Roth funds will now have to transfer to a Roth IRA account.
Got it. So if you roll a traditional 401k into a Roth IRA, you have to pay the taxes on the rollover, right? Or can you not roll it over at all, like from a traditional 401k into a Roth? It's only if you have the Roth provision.
Oh, no. You can roll your traditional 401k into a Roth IRA at the new custodian, but now at the end of the year, you're going to get a 1099 as a distribution, and you will have to pay taxes on that amount.
Okay.
So
but if you roll over a Roth 401k provision, if you have that in your 401k into a Roth IRA, there's no 1099 at the end of the year.
Yeah, there's no taxes due on any direct to direct rollover. So.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. So you can roll over your Roth 401k into a Roth IRA. You can roll over a traditional 401k into a Roth IRA, and you can enroll over a traditional 401k into a traditional IRA. So can you also roll a 401k into an annuity? Yes.
Remember, it has to go into an IRA. Okay.
Okay.
The tax deferred status, right?
Okay.
An IRA can be an annuity IRA. It could be a mutual fund IRA. It could be a brokerage account IRA. As long as it's still an IRA, yes, you can roll it over into an IRA. So.
Got it. Okay. So when people do talk about rolling over 401k into annuity, it is an IRA. Okay. That makes it perfect.
Yes. You got to keep that tax status. You're exactly
okay.
Right. And you could do a Roth IRA annuity also. So.
Got it. Okay,
They're
perfect.
just products of the IRA. So,
All right. So the direct is from a custodian to a custodian, right?
yes.
All right. So let's talk about indirect.
Indirect. This is the good one as far as you've got a check from your, okay. Indirect is when you actually physically receive the check from your 401k company.
Right.
And when this usually happens, when most people usually get this, is let's say you leave your old place of employment and you have less than $5,000
Right.
in that 401k. Automatically, the company, your old custodian, for most scenarios, will cut the check due directly to you.
And they do that because your balance is so low.
Balance is so low, they want you off their books.
Right. Okay.
For them to manage it. Okay. So, and then when you get that check, you've got 60 days to put it into an IRA account. Now you're only allowed, since I think it was the Pension Act, 2000, I forget what year it was exactly, but the rules change. You're only allowed one IRA, indirect or IRA rollover per year.
Per year. Right. Okay.
So there's why the direct rollovers are honestly the best way to do it.
Right.
If not,
And so there, what are the other, I know there are rules, you have a certain amount of time to, once you get that check, to deposit it before you have to pay penalties and taxes.
yeah, 60 days.
60 days. So if I get mailed a check, let's say that my balance is low. I get mailed a check for $4,000. I have 60 days to put that in another investment vehicle, retirement investment vehicle, like an IRA, right? A Roth or, we just went over the whole list.
Right.
Or it's considered withdrawing from your 401k. Is that not correct? And so what are you looking at in terms of penalties and interest?
Well, if you're under 59 and a half,
right.
It would be a 10% penalty. Also, if it goes to a Roth, you still have to pay the taxes on the conversion from the IRA to the Roth IRA, from the old 401k to the IRA, if it wasn't a Roth provision. But and it's 60 days. Remember, the 60 days from the date the transaction started.
Right.
So if it was January 15th, we would roughly say March 15th or 16th because of leaps are in there. So you be careful on them numbers with one day off.
Right. And then you can get some serious, right? Because if you're not 59 and a half, which is the age of, you can take distribution without penalties. So my age, if I were to do that and I just sat around on that money, or I cash it in and put it in my bank or whatever I do, it's going to cost, that's going to take a big chunk of that, even if it's just $4,000, right?
And think about this. In my career in the business, I see this quite often. And you get phone calls, hey, I got this check from this old company. What do I do with it? And it's like, well, it was earmarked at one time for retirement. Do you still earmarked for your retirement? If not, you're going to pay taxes and penalty on it right now. And they're like, well, my car broke down. I could use it. And now it comes to a personal decision. And honestly, I think one of the biggest reasons that companies distribute them small account balances are because they know the average person isn't going to do nothing with it anyways.
Right.
They're going to spend it. So
do some of these companies withhold the taxes automatically?
When
we're talking about indirect, when you say, okay, just send me the check.
Up to 20% could be withheld. I don't think it's common for the smaller amounts, but if someone says, hey, I need $50,000 out of my old 401k, but I want to leave some there. Well, when that distribution check comes out, automatically these custodians will withhold 20%.
So even what if you want all of it out, and let's say all of it's 500, let's say it's like 500,000, they will withhold that 20%.
They'll withhold it. Yeah, they're mandated to withhold that. So
got it. Okay.
Because you don't want that big tax bill all at once. And thing, I'd rather have them withhold the funds And I think most people would too, because you don't want to owe the IRS.
For sure. No, you don't. No. Yeah, exactly. All right. So, I think we've made a case for if you're watching this and you have a 401k and or more than one that's left behind with the vast employer, consider it's probably in your best interest to move, whether you want to do a direct or an indirect, which direct is probably better. It's safer. You just be careful. And it's simpler, really it's simpler. So whatever the case is, just, don't leave one behind. It's not a good idea. It's really not. And you spent all that time and all that money saving.
Plus them stats that you showed.
I know.
4 million people left
behind. It's a lot. And that's 1.35 trillion that's left in those accounts. It's a lot. It's a lot of money.
And I guess that's, okay, so imagine this. Would you go back to the grocery store if you left your wallet there?
Yes.
Why would you?
That's actually
why would you not go back and get your retirement account? Exactly. I guess I can't fathom that, but I've seen it in my 23-year career. So.
For sure. Like we said, it's busy, this, that, and the other. You don't understand what you're doing. And it's just like, then life happens, right? Life happens to all of us. And we're just like, last thing you want to do is, or last thing on your mind, I should say. So, all right. Well, thank you for this information. Thanks for everybody who's watching. And again, please hit that subscribe button and both. Why don't you do both? Hit the like button so more people can find our content. And also you will never miss another video from us. Thanks so much, everybody.
Have a great day.